I have a question for you. Have you heard a piece of music that gave you goosebumps? Raise your hand. All right, a lot of us have had that. That experience has been studied over and over again. All right, it's called aesthetic chills, or the French use the phrase frisson. I used to get that all the time as a kid growing up, listening to all different kinds of music, and I thought I was weird because of that. And as I can see, I'm not the only one. Now, I'm a tuba player also, so weird is just kind of part of the package deal here, all right? That's just, we're built differently. But in my house growing up, we always had all different kinds of music. I grew up with, hearing Motown, Billy Joel, Chicago, Blood, Sweat, and Tears, Tina Turner. And my dad would play piano, and if I had my Star Wars action figures out, then he would play the theme to Star Wars, and if Darth Vader made an appearance, here comes the Imperial March. And when I joined the high school band, because I went to a very small school, the tuba player graduated, and so I stepped in. My dad was also my first instructor, and when I went to learn to play electric bass, same thing. He helped to get me started with that. And there's always been that, feeling, those chills with different pieces of music. Even in high school, I can think back of, some of those songs. I took that. I moved on to Ohio State, where I tried out for the marching band and spent 5 years there playing all different kinds of music with great people. And again, I can think back, and it's not the crowd, it's the music that gives me those chills, those goosebumps. And so I take that experience, and then I try to introduce the appreciation and love of music to my daughter, who, like any typical teen, will listen to the same kind of songs over and over again. But at least one of them is September by Earth, Wind, and Fire, so I feel like as a father, I'm doing something right. Thank you. Thank you. It is a good song. And so that love of music continues on with NACHO Street Band. Now, that 45-pound piece of metal that has been following me for the last 30-some years has kind of dropped me off at different interesting places. One of them happens to be here. I joined the band, and about 7-8 months later, I have the position I have now. And so I take an even more deeper appreciation of the impact of music, of what it has on me and how it's kind of guided my life. But to talk about what NACHO has done is to really look at what is the impact of music. Yes, we raise a lot of money. Our focus is to support the hospital, the Ronald McDonald House. And everything that we bring in, whether it's donations, whether it's fees for performances, goes to those fundraising efforts. But that's not the entire story. There is the first performance we actually had at the Ronald McDonald House in 2018 when we got finished, and a mother comes up to me with tears in her eyes, thanking the band profusely because, now we're just playing and having a good time, but we gave her an hour of respite, an hour of relief, because her daughter is here in the hospital having multiple spine surgeries and is just had a horrific week. We've heard those stories over and over again from families that have come literally from all over the world. And our, chance to go there and play for them, have some fun like we did when we, started this event here. What's fun for us is extremely impactful and valuable to those families. We're playing this summer out in front of the hospital. Similar story where, and this actually, I didn't know it happened. The mother posted it on our Facebook page that her and her daughter were 2-3 days here in the hospital going through multiple assessments and testing. Really tough, really draining on the family. They come out, we're out front of the hospital playing, and her daughter said, oh, they're playing the Bruno song. You know the Bruno song, the one we don't talk about? That one? Yeah. And that just dissolved everything for that child and for the mother. So those are the kind of stories that we get, and that's the kind of impact that we feel with music. When the pandemic hit, and March of 2020, we were in the middle of a fundraising campaign. We put that on hold. We only took 10 days off. We regrouped. Many of us played in marching band. Spreading out and playing was not a big deal. So we decided any front yard, sidewalk, parking lot, cul-de-sac, anywhere around Central Ohio, people needed to hear music, we were going to go. From April to October of that year, we played 40 performances. Many weeks we had 2 or 3 a week where we were playing. And it wasn't just the break for the audience. And by the way, the audience was not just the people in front of us. We live streamed everything. So we had a national audience and then turned out a global audience. We were very big in Brazil. That was a surprise. I did not expect that. But those same type of comments kept flooding in. We needed this. This provided that break that we so desperately needed because everyone, the last 2 years, has had their different type of hard. Their different struggle with everything that's going on, including the members of the band. This was our music therapy. This was our chance to be able to put whatever our individual hard, difficult situation was aside. Go out, play, have some fun, and reset. And like I said, we set a record that year, I think, in all we played over 60 gigs. We raised even more money because after a while, people literally started throwing money at us. And that's the impact of music. The retirement home that we practice and play at, it's amazing to see people in their 70s, 80s, 90s come into our practices or our performances for them, and they get up and dance, and they're shaking it. If they can't get up and dance, then they're moving in their chairs. All right, they feel the music, they appreciate the music. Because the other thing we heard about in the pandemic was, and I'm sure you've either said it or heard somebody say it, we need live music. We need live music back. That's how much, when you take that away, you realize the value and the impact that live music has. That deep impact. Another deep impact is also going back to my daughter when it comes to music. My daughter at the time, she's 14 and a half now, but at the time was one of the youngest to be diagnosed here at Nationwide Children's Hospital on the autism spectrum. We got the diagnosis on her 2nd birthday. Music therapy plays a tremendous role in her development for her speech, developing language because she is nonverbal. So it's how she develops language. It's a way for her to develop sentence structure. It's also a way to develop context clues. And when she's in a meltdown and nobody can get through, music can. Music is the one thing, start singing a song that breaks through. The child that we don't recognize all of a sudden becomes our daughter again. That is the impact of music. For my father, playing piano now is to help with his Parkinson's disease. It's helped with the strength in his hands, in his fingers, his dexterity. It is something that he loves, but it's also now a music therapy for him in his struggle with Parkinson's. That is the impact of music. So, we're going to keep doing what we're doing. NACHO Street Band, we're going to play loud, we're going to have fun, we're going to continue to bring awareness to the hospital, to the house, as we love to call it. But what I want to pose to all of you is when you're considering treatment, whether it's for a patient, whether it's for their family, or whether it's for yourself, we want you to consider music in some way, shape, or form. Because the studies are out there, we know the evidence, we've seen it. Music has a positive impact on the mind, body, and soul. And that is why we believe music is medicine. Thank you.